Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, I've got a quick update about something we talked about yesterday, and that was the Nintendo DS prototype game, Lego Castle. Someone had discovered it, listed it on eBay for $950 or best offer. And it turns out someone purchased it. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any details pop up about who purchased it or if they're going to preserve it or what's going to happen here. It could possibly go one of two ways. One, the person dumps this game and preserves it. Or two, they hold on to it and hope to make some money. We'll have to wait and see there, but let me know your predictions in the comments below. Next up here, we're talking about Catly, which was a game announced during the Game Awards this year. This was the trailer that was showcased, and a lot of people were thinking that this was an AI trailer. The game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5 here, but the trailer that was showcased raised a lot of questions. And yes, it's a game about cats. Now, it seems the game studio has been listening to the comments and concerns about their game trailer. In fact, they've just uploaded a brand new trailer over on Steam. And this trailer is a little over 2 minutes in length. It's about 2 minutes and 7 seconds here. And it showcases actual gameplay footage. Now, I'm not sure why they just didn't unveil this during the Game Awards instead of their trailer, but who knows here. We still don't know if they used AI in that original game trailer, but it doesn't look like they're using AI here. Maybe the coding is AI assisted? I don't even know. I don't even want to speculate on that. All I want to say is that this seems to be actual gameplay footage as opposed to an AI generated trailer. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts about Catly. And let me know if you think they did use AI for the original trailer and they should have used this one instead. Unfortunately, I don't have a price or a release date for you in this game just yet. The only thing I know is that this game features cats. It seems to be some sort of an open world adventure game, and it does not feature the legendary One Fluff. Next up here, we're talking about an interesting article over on Video Games Chronicle that has sparked a lot of debate. The title of this article says, "The games industry will only have room for one non-Nintendo console next generation." And I'll drop a link to this article in the description below. In fact, everything I talk about, link will be in the description below right at the bottom. So there was some sort of study done by DFC Intelligence, and here's a very interesting quote. "There isn't room for more than two major console systems. Sony or Microsoft will struggle mightily in a distant third place, largely dependent on which of those companies can gain early momentum." And taking a look at the chart in the article, and well, I've got a whole lot of questions here. It's titled Projected Active Installed Base of New Video Game Systems. For 2025 alone, not looking at the rest of it, a new Nintendo system will account for about 20 million, where PlayStation 5 and Xbox are basically zero. And taking a look at 2026, PlayStation and Xbox is literally sitting at zero as well. And the Nintendo system is sitting close to 40 million. I don't know where they predicted these numbers from, but they just don't seem accurate, especially if Sony releases and Xbox releases a new handheld. Now, it is worth pointing out I usually take this stuff with a grain of salt, considering these are just predictions and, well, they could go a whole bunch of different ways. The new Nintendo console could flop. I mean, look at the success of the Wii and then look at the success of the Wii U. It could absolutely happen here. So I don't know what's going to happen, but this does not look correct to me. I could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to have a lot of different takes about it. On a quick side note here, VGC, if you are watching this video, please do a better job at providing your sources. I read your article and there were no links to the actual article you were referencing. It was very interesting that way. It happens every now and then on your articles, and I just wish you guys were more consistent at providing sources. Anyways, if anyone is wondering where this information came from, I did some searching and found it. So again, like everything I talk about, link is in the description below right at the bottom. Next up here, this is a friendly heads up. If you play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you may be able to get your hands on a shiny Rayquaza. I think I said that right. Maybe I didn't. This information comes right from the Pokemon website, or possibly in-game if you're already playing these games. So they say from December 19th to January 5th, shiny Rayquaza will be appearing in 5-star Terra Raid battles. The Rayquaza appearing during this event has Dragon as its Terra type. Shiny Rayquaza cannot normally be encountered during regular gameplay. So don't miss your chance to welcome this legendary Pokemon into your adventuring party. So for all of you active Pokemon trainers out there, good luck. Good luck getting your hands on a shiny Rayquaza. You can only get one per game save. But moving on, and next up we're talking about Anbernic. And if you've got an RG35XX or RG35XX SP, you might be excited to know that the screens on these devices are better than we thought. Gamma was taking a look around and found out that these screens can go up to 120 Hz. So Gamma has released the 120 Hz mod, or the 119.947 Hz mod over on GitHub. It is free, it's open source, and I'm assuming that people working on custom firmware for these devices will incorporate this mod in that custom firmware. And to me, it goes to show that the stock firmware on these Anbernic devices kind of sucks and doesn't take full advantage of the hardware. And speaking about gaming handhelds, next up we're talking about the next Lenovo Legion Go. And in my opinion, this is very exciting news. So we've talked about this handheld in previous videos. Images of it have already leaked online. Well, it turns out in an email to The Verge, Lenovo has confirmed Valve is going to be their special guest at CES. Now, only a few weeks ago, we took a look at branding that surfaced online that said powered by SteamOS. And it seems like we're going to see devices now powered by SteamOS sooner rather than later. The event here, The Verge is saying, is on January 7th, titled Lenovo Legion X AMD, the future of gaming handhelds. It will feature a special guest, Valve's SteamOS and Steam Deck co-designer, Pierre-Luc Griffey. I might have mispronounced that. Apparently, Lenovo and AMD are calling him Valve's chief design architect for purposes of the event. So that's telling me that SteamOS is going to be on the next Lenovo Legion Go. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I'm going to be. And to me, this is super exciting that Valve is going to be releasing SteamOS for more devices than just the Steam Deck. I think this could be really big for Linux gaming moving forward, and on a smaller handheld, I would say it's much more optimal to use something like Linux that uses a lot less resources than something like Windows, a lot less overhead to worry about. I could be wrong about that, but let me know your thoughts about all of that in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts about SteamOS powering more handheld devices. Would you be more interested in purchasing something like the Lenovo Legion Go if it was running SteamOS instead of Windows? And on a side note here, if Valve does take the guardrails off SteamOS and releases it not just for other handhelds, but possibly also for PCs as well, would you be interested in ditching your main Linux distribution or possibly Windows to run SteamOS on your main PC? I would give it a try. I wouldn't be overly hopeful for it, but I would be excited to try it out and see how it works. And speaking about Steam, next up we're still talking about Steam, and this is a friendly heads up that the Steam Winter Sale is now on until January 2nd. So if you've got a wish list over on Steam, you may want to check it out to see if any of those games are on sale. Unfortunately, big games like Dragon Ball Sparking Zero are not on sale. I did check for that one. I picked up that game at full price. I'm glad I did, but at the same time, I was secretly, not even secretly, I was hoping it was going to be part of the Steam Winter Sale. But aside from that, there are some pretty good sales on some pretty good games. I mean, Elden Ring is 40% off. Baldur's Gate is 20% off. We've got God of War Ragnarok for 20% off. Stardew Valley for 40% off. Balatro is on sale for 10% off. Diablo's on sale, and even more. You can probably throw quite a few bucks into your Steam account. And continuing to speak about Steam, next up we're still talking about Steam. If you do use Steam to play games, I recommend checking out the 2024 Steam Replay, which is now here. You can find out a lot of information about your gaming habits in that report. You can find out how many new games you play, what type of games you play the most, what games you play the most, when you play the most, what devices you play the most on, and even more. And interestingly here, it turns out that the median amount of games people play per year is 4. Now, if that number does seem low, I can kind of understand it. I mean, for example, if someone is really into something like CSGO, they're going to be playing a whole lot of CSGO and probably not a whole lot of something else. On top of that, new AAA games are not cheap. I paid like $93 for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. It was not cheap. And here's some insights as to what I play. You can see Fighting 2D Fighter, Sports is high. I play a lot of racing games. And interestingly here, the amount of average or the median amount of Steam achievements that were unlocked this year per person was 13. And on a side note here, if you are curious as to more of my Steam stats, you can see my playtime. I've got almost 50% of my playtime using Steam on the Steam Deck. I use the Steam Deck a whole heck of a lot. And then I've got Linux and Windows as well. So let me know some of your stats in the comments below that you find interesting or you're proud of. I'm very curious to see what people are gaming and, well, their stats. And speaking about games, next up here, we're talking about a new game that was just announced for fall 2025, and that's Trials in the Sky First Chapter. So if you're into games like this, Gung Ho is behind this one, and well, it's coming out this fall. Now this game will be released digitally on PS5, Switch, and PC, and I think physical versions will be available for, I think, 60 USD on Switch and PS5. And it is a remake of The Legend of Heroes Trials in the Sky, which was released originally back in 2004 and is available on PSP, PS Vita, and PlayStation 3. And speaking about stuff that released on PlayStation, next up here we're talking about Tales of Rebirth. If you're not familiar with this game, I don't blame you. It was released 20 years ago and it was never released in English. And it turns out there's going to be an English translation patch of this game available pretty soon. It's releasing this month. Tales of Rebirth is an action RPG, and if you're a fan of the Tales series of games, you may be a fan of this one. It was originally released back in 2004 for the PS2 and then in 2006 for the PSP, but only in Japanese, until this fan translation patch releases. And speaking about stuff that's released, next up here we're talking about stuff that hasn't released and probably won't, not officially anyways. It turns out that Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies build contains the scrapped remastered DLC 5 maps and early builds of Origins and Buried. If you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, again, like everything I talk about, link is in the description below right at the bottom. There's also YouTube videos showcasing this cut content, and well, there's some very interesting things here. You can tell this stuff was in development because there's purple signs in a whole bunch of places that say delete me. So in the description of this video, they say Christmas present, the biggest Call of Duty release so far. 2 builds of Black Ops 2 Zombies dated June and August 2013, including unreleased DLC 5. On top of that here, there's some very interesting information, including links to things. Let me know your thoughts about this one. I mean, taking a look at the comments here, and well, someone says Activision doesn't like free money, I guess. They could legit release this now as DLC to Black Ops 2 and make $1 trillion in a day. This person says, bro, I always knew the globe menu was meant to have more zombie maps on it. I knew it. Let me know your thoughts about this leak in the comments below. It's not even really a leak, it's just discovered information. And speaking about stuff on YouTube, next up here we're talking about the Indie Game Awards 2024, which occurred yesterday and is about 2 hours in length, just a little under 2 hours. This was the first year for the Indie Game Awards, and while the overall show was a little less flashy than something like the Game Awards, I would say it's arguably a little bit more interesting. I could be wrong about that. Anyways, for Game of the Year, no surprise here, Balatro was the big winner. Now, I won't spoil the rest of the award show for you if you haven't seen it yet. It is worth paying attention. It is worth checking things out. There were 20 awards given in total, and well, I can completely understand why something like Balatro won Game of the Year. I mean, obviously, it could have won Game of the Year at the Game Awards this year. It's just that popular and that good. Now, this was the first year for the Indie Game Awards. I'm curious to see if there's going to be a second year because based on these numbers, they do seem a little bit low. I mean, IGN has 18.7 million subscribers, and this video only has 18,798 views. To me, that's very low for a channel that size, although I would say the Indie Game Awards wasn't very well publicized. And speaking about games, how about some free ones? Next up here, we're talking about some free games. The first one is over on GOG, which means it's DRM free, and that is Chicken Assassin Reloaded. I haven't played this game yet. It's got a 3.7 star rating out of 5. But it is 100% free. It may be worth checking out. The second game here is, I would argue, a lot more well-known, and that is Black Desert Online. It's over here on Steam. It's 100% free, and it's got a mostly positive review score here with over 83,000 reviews. For those who may be unaware, Black Desert Online is an open-world action MMORPG. Now, if that game seems a bit too complicated for you and you're more of a fan of something like Space Invaders or a Space Invaders style of game, you may be interested in Distant Space 2, which is also 100% free on Steam. And last, this isn't a game, it's DLC for a game. For those of you who played Train Sim World 2, you may be excited to know that Sherman Hill Cheyenne Laramie route is 100% free. And speaking about free, last up here we're talking about a free-to-play game called Once Human. Now this game isn't on sale because it's 100% free, it's free to play. Anyways, it's a multiplayer open world survival game, and if you are familiar with this game, it seems a lot of people are. It's got a mostly positive review score with over 114,000 reviews. This game is headed to mobile in April. So here's the announcement from Once Human. The Once Human mobile version will officially launch in April 2025. And they say click the link to pre-register your mobile version and secure your 100% chance of getting legendary cosmetics. Now taking a look at their website here, and I don't know if these are all real people or bot accounts, but it appears that 26,160,500 people have pre-registered for this game. That is a whole heck of a lot. I've never played Once Human. If you have, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below and if it's worth checking out. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and the legendary one fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.